Well, are you wondering why your man hasn't asked you to get married? That's a big question these days with Valentine's Day this weekend and the hit movie, He's Just Not That Into You, in theaters.
So you think it's great that they're getting married, but you don't ever feel like we're going against nature or something by not getting married?
No. Going against nature is like the cat who suckled that monkey.
Matt Titus is the co-author of Why Hasn't He Proposed? Good morning, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
I should mention you co-authored it with your wife, so there is a woman's perspective.
Yes, the he said, she said is always very good with this type of thing. So absolutely. You know, we got sick of women spending the best years of their lives with men who had no intention of proposing and then really being let down in the end.
Well, you boiled it down to 6 reasons.
Yeah.
Why
Sure.
Let's go through them. The first one you say is because of the monogamy clause.
You know, men have a very hard time with this. Men are supposed to run around the forest and propagate the species with multiple partners and have sex. You know, monogamy and marriage is not natural for us. It's sort of artificial. It's something that society's created.
Right. So if you're a woman and he's not willing to sign up on the monogamy clause, shouldn't you just walk?
You know, that's very easily said, but to do that's very tough because men give mixed signals.
So then what do you do if you're a woman and he has a problem with that monogamy clause?
You make sure that he understands that you are only there temporarily based on his behavior, and if he's not going to give you exactly what you want, you need to take action. Men respond to action much more than they respond to words, as we know.
Right.
It's very important. You know, I have an 18-month thing. If you're going to move in with a man, you make sure he knows that this is a temporary situation. It's for 18 months and 18 months only, and then you reevaluate where your relationship is.
So start a stopwatch.
No, exactly.
The second the couch sits down, right?
But can I just say something?
Sure.
But if you give this ultimatum, right?
It's not an
who
ultimatum,
wants to
Julie. It's in the beginning. It's before you do this. It's a plan. Okay, it's like we're gonna test the waters for 18 months. I'm into it, but we're not playing house. He has to know this, and after 18 months, if he hasn't popped the question, you need to do something about it, and that's take action and start withdrawing and becoming independent.
Okay.
All right, let's go on to
Sure.
one of your other tenets, and one of the other things is you have to know that this guy can actually provide for you.
Exactly. I mean, let's interview the guy. Let's see if check his baggage. Let's see if he has a job that's going to be good enough for you. Let's see if he's going to make a good partner. Let's make sure that he is the one. And, you know, if he's not, you have to be strong enough to know there's someone out there that might be.
Okay.
One of the other tenets is he could lose half of everything he owns.
That's so negative. That's already thinking,
men think about marriage as something that, you know, is going to be forever. They do take it seriously when it does happen. So we have to look at, you know, if you worked very hard all your life, you might lose half of it to somebody that wasn't good for you.
But what if he just said, okay, a prenup?
Prenups are tough, Julie. They're real tough, and we're going to talk about that later. But I mean, you know how hard that is. I mean, every woman faced with a prenup might have an issue.
All right. Well,
and men.
Speaking of prenups, there's a brand new thing called postnups, and Raoul Felder, the very, very, very famous attorney of many important divorces, joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning, Aaron.
All right.
What is this thing called?
Yeah, it's called a post-nuptial agreement, which is what?
Yeah, Julie, it's for people who've missed the boat the first time. They don't have a prenup. They want to have a postnup. Or maybe life changes, and maybe one is very wealthy. Or maybe it's rocky and they don't want to go to lawyers. They want to give the marriage a second shot. So there's this animal out there, this postnuptial agreement.
Is it growing in popularity?
Oh, sure. Actually, the economy has impacted it because there are lots of people that really are unhappy, but they can't afford a divorce at this point because there's nothing to split up. So they sign a postnuptial agreement that says, whenever one of us triggers this, we divide up whatever we have, half and half, and they put other provisions in there.
But if you're just newly married and you miss the boat on the prenup and you bring up this topic of let's get into a postnuptial agreement, isn't that saying I want a divorce?
Not really. You know, postnuptial agreements are pretty smart instruments. Prenuptial agreement, you don't know what you're getting into, really, most of the time. You don't know what the problem's going to be. Postnuptial agreement, you know we're having problems about the cat and the dishes and how you're spending your money and so forth. So they could do it more intelligently.
It's actually like a reformatting of the relationship. And it's looking after there's been history and maybe there's been some trust buildup. You know your partner better, and then you try to reformulate the marriage. And
so you will look at this as a good thing?
I absolutely do. I think it's great.
And this is legally binding?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. More binding, better, more solid than a prenuptial agreement. But you know,
why?
because they have more on the table. They're not talking about pie in the sky. They're talking about concrete things. And it's pretty good for women sometimes, because if a woman wants a divorce, a man will pay more to keep a wife than get rid of a wife. So
that's a great point.
This is very interesting.
Absolutely.
You negotiate on the front side as opposed to, I'm going to go to battle with you, I'm going to go all the way to the grave's edge. Maybe do it when things are a little bit better.
There's a history. There's a familiarity. You know each other.
Well, I'm thinking from the female perspective. Take advantage of the guy.
With your feminine
If you
side.
can see down the line 2 or 3 years that, you know what, this thing is going to go over the edge. Maybe when it's okay now, let's see him make the deal now.
And be more generous.
Part of communication. Communication is important.
A business deal.
I'm speechless. I'm outnumbered
It's a
by these
Valentine's
guys.
show. This is a Valentine's
It's a Valentine's show. You guys are talking about it like it's a business arrangement.
I think that when there's a good understanding throughout the marriage and everyone knows where everyone is, the marriage can be much more successful.
Yeah, and Matt, of course, a business is part of marriage. And in fact, Matt said, find out what he's worth. That's not a bad idea. Pretty good idea.
Okay, if you're a guy, and let's say you and I are dating, Raoul, and like, how much you're worth? Shouldn't you be running for the hills? That's like.
Well, I mean, you're so smart, you're going to do it more subtly. You're going to
But still, if you figure out, that's what I'm getting at.
His watch spread, the car he drives. You'll get a dossier up on him before it's.
I think you want to know, you want to do your diligence on your potential mate. That's very important. Yeah. You get surprised and people find out things. That's why marriages fail. And we're not saying it's all about the money always either.
And a free tip, if you're getting married to a guy who got married before, get a hold of the ex-wife to find out what's going on.
Make friends with her. It's very important.
Wow.
The name of the book is?
Why Hasn't He Proposed?
There you go.
Matt Titus, Raoul Felder, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for ruining my Valentine's Day. No, I'm just kidding.